On August 22, 2009, a video titled Tarboy Animation, an epic animated short film / flash animation, was uploaded to YouTube. As the title suggests, it was an animation, though to simplify it down to just that wouldn't do justice to its quality and impact on the site. Its style and execution became the shining example of what was truly possible with independent flash animation, and it helped pioneer the medium for other creators online and inspire the following generation of YouTube animators upon release. Tarboy is genuinely a spectacle, and if you haven't seen it, I strongly urge you to do so before watching this video, because for obvious reasons, I'll have to spoil it. 3, 2, 1. You have been warned. Tarboy opens with a grandfather telling his grandson a story about these rich people who owned a mine, kept operational by slaves.
Let me tell you about a real hero, my boy. His name is Tarboy. Nothing like you've ever seen before. Once there were these rich fat cats, Grunt, Blunt, and I can't remember the last one. See, they ruled the world with their greed. Their slaves worked day and night in the mines.
And when a new, more efficient method is found, the slaves are tossed into a tar pit where they melt together and become Tarboy, who seeks revenge on the mine owners before being tricked into entering a room containing heaters and is melted down. The grandfather then reveals he was there that day and that a piece of Tarboy escaped and is seeking out the rest of its body, heavily teasing at a potential sequel. So, where is it? Well, first, some context. The creator of this video is actually, in fact, none other than James Lee. And if you're a subscriber of mine, you've definitely heard of him before. But if not, he's a professional animator for hire who's created art for a series of videos, short films, and games you may have seen around before. On his own channel, he uploads animations, as well as content that defies categorization. It's good, just insanely weird, and I love it.
I think it's time I gave you a little piece of my mind. You said I could trust you, but when I told my friend my secrets, and she told you, you told everyone. Look at you and your cool friends, talking about us plebs behind our backs. You think Tom would have done this? He seemed like such a chill dude, but we stopped hanging out for some reason. I wonder whatever happened to that guy.
It's an odd blend of animation and live action working in tandem to create brilliant, subtle commentary on internet culture, and I strongly recommend it to anyone just for the style alone. Tarboy, though, was one of James's first publicly posted animations, done as part of his honors study in film school in 2007. Upon being released to YouTube 2 years later, an accompanying site had also been created called Tarboy.com, which offered the chance to buy merchandise as well as download the soundtrack and see updates regarding the sequel. A sequel which was also referenced in the original video's description, but is apparently no longer in the works. Although today, Tarboy.com now redirects to jameslee.art, a smaller site which acts to host James's filmography. As of late, there is no mention of anything regarding a Tarboy sequel. So,
what happened to Tarboy 2?
Oh, hi, Mark. Anyway, for those of you who have even dug into it slightly, I'm sure you've discovered the giant update about the situation James Lee himself put out almost everywhere, including adding it to the original Tarboy's video description nearly 3 years ago. To boil things down, Tarboy 2 is going to be a game which James Lee had been helping create alongside overseas developers. The head developer broke their agreement and a series of issues ensued, which resulted in James having to buy back the rights to pull the plug on the project cleanly. He also references his desire to make a video explaining the full situation that year and release footage from 2 unfinished Tarboy projects. Whatever this footage may have been is uncertain since the update video never came out. He never officially stated he wouldn't do it, though given how long it's been, I doubt we'll see it released. Although, this post was slightly amended when put up on Tumblr, and included screenshots from the project, 2 of which appear to be frames of cutscenes, while 1 resembles in-game footage, along with a piece of concept art and a cutscene storyboard. This particular version of the update also has an added statement. Quote, "There's going to be some new Tarboy footage coming out in my studio reel, but before people board the hype train for a sequel, I need to explain a few things." This is in reference to an unlisted video called Director Studio Reel, James Lee Animation, which is only accessible through his website and is intended for potential customers to get a good frame of reference for his work. Sprinkled throughout are small segments where footage matching the screenshots is played, showcasing some of the lost cutscenes.
Wow, what a breath of fresh air!
So, in an attempt to piece together a big picture regarding the game, I decided to comb through James Lee's entire social media backlog in search of Tarboy-related posts that would show tidbits of information. First off, it's confirmed that Tarboy 2 was an idea of James's even before the original Tarboy video was released on YouTube, since he posts concept art for the sequel on Newgrounds just 2 days after it premiered. And in another update, he plans on having something Tarboy-related out by the end of that year. 2010, which, given his remarks, may have been a reference to the trailer. In an update posted September 5th of the following year, he included a screenshot that would go on to be shown in the Tumblr post, and references that he's getting close to finishing the first of 4 main sequences for Tarboy 2. What exactly he means as a sequence is unclear, but since it's something that James himself is in charge of, theoretically independent of the game developers, this may be referring to the game's cutscenes, which are confirmed to exist from the footage that's available. Though based on the altered Tarboy description, James only finished one of these sequences and was unsatisfied with it. This same Newgrounds post also alludes to the production problems that would snowball and ultimately end the project. 2 months later, however, he released another update stating that the project was almost half done and the hardest part was over since each sequence was designed to be easier than the last. He even stays confident that the project will see a 2011 release, and links to another, now defunct post on Tarboy.com. And as I said, the site is down today, but through the Wayback Machine, the original page can be viewed in its entirety. Although from it, not much can be determined other than the fact that this character is named Nash. And likewise, the rest of the updates on the site proved to be less than helpful, since many of them are just mirrors of his posts on social media. Although, one update in March of 2010 mentions music having been created for the sequel by Hannah, who had been James's wife and creator of the original Tarboy score. On her YouTube channel today, 2 songs have been released, one of which in 2013, after the project had already ended.
I speak of freedom, friends and enemies, rights and felonies. Two's a party, but 3 is a crowd.
And if one follows the link on the Tarboy.com update, you'll be taken to Hannah's blog, which is a little bit more informative. It shows concept art and states that there's a new character they're introducing, named Nash, as previously mentioned, but also a guy named Eggs. I think that's how it's pronounced. Who is cited as the returning villain. The fact that he's stated as returning in the sequel confirms that he's the businessman who ran away from Tarboy in the original animation, and was the one who ultimately melts him in the end. This explains the concept art that James would ultimately go on to put up with the same name. And interestingly enough, when examining the storyboard included in the Tumblr post more closely, the name Eggs is clearly visible on the window of the door, preceded by Nash staring at it frightened. And ironically, after Tarboy 2 as a project fell apart, James utilized Eggs' design and rebranded his animation business with it. And in the following years, this new company image would carry over onto his YouTube channel, and became somewhat of a persona in the content I previously mentioned. Well, you know what they say, you either die a hero or live long enough to see yourself become a villain, right? No. But in terms of Tarboy-related information, that's about all that exists. There are a few odds and ends in terms of concept art that exists, and another character James made a tweet about, named JohnnyBot. But nothing concrete is given beyond this. If you want to try to break down the hints we have to make guesses about the other aspects of the game, well, we can try. First off, I think it's pretty safe to say that Nash is a protagonist, or at least a lead, given how his design and color scheme are made to intentionally clash with the other robots of the company. Plus, he's the focal point of the storyboard. Eggs, the robot from the original, is most likely the main villain, and the head of the company since his name is written on the door. From what little footage we have of the conceptual gameplay, there are also a few conclusions one can draw. First, you play as Tarboy, obviously, and in a 2D environment akin to a side-scroller where you take out enemies. But also take note of the small gauge at the top left, with red on one side and blue on the other. That's the standard for temperature measurement. Given Tarboy's weakness to heat as established in the original Tarboy short film, it may not be far-fetched to say that you die in this game by letting your temperature gauge get too high, and melting as a result. And in the next segment of the video, Tarboy is seen melted in a puddle after being hit with a flamethrower from an enemy. All while the needle of the gauge above has entered the red zone. And if you notice, there's a second smaller gauge off to the right of the main one. And in the prior shot, as Tarboy punched an enemy, it became partially lit. This may indicate your overall health, but you can dig into the evidence all you like. Though the fact remains that the actual game doesn't exist and probably never will. But that doesn't mean there's no chance of us learning more soon.
But if the project was cancelled and James Lee never made an update video, then how do you know that jargon?
Because every buried relic leaves a trail mark, and despite all the problems along the way, there'll be someone left to follow it and dig in the right spot. But you know what? I think a piece of Tarboy 2 survived that project, that it's out there, somewhere, waiting for just the right time, and when it comes, the fans' wait will finally end on the day that Tarboy is released once more.
Love it. Keep doing it. Keep it up. Keep it up, bro. You're the best.
Yeah, I actually did it for real. What of it?